Hello there, Ray here, and today guys I have an amazingly simple farm. This is one of the easiest automatic squid and kelp farms all in one, and this is a new addition that came out with some changes to 1.16. This build is extremely simple. You see we just got some blocks here on this side, and we also got some blocks here on this side. That's pretty much all there is, and then a little simple fly machine in between. Despite looking so simple, this thing is actually really efficient. It'll get you not only a ton of ink, but also kelp, depending on if you want that as well. I'll be going into how this farm is so simple yet so effective, as well as how you can easily implement this into your very own survival world. Make sure to share this video with your favorite Minecrafter so they can learn about this amazing farm. And if you guys haven't already subscribed, go ahead and do that because I make farms like this almost daily. Now the main product you get off of this is ink, which does have a lot of uses. The ink itself can be made into book and quill, which can be used to make written books. It also can be turned into dye. You can dye a wide range of things from shulker boxes to concrete, wool, terracotta, glass, and even dark prismarine uses it. You also can use it to like dye leather armor, horse as well, fire rockets, and even use it to make gray and light gray dyes, and all the blocks that go with them that can be dyed. And black color blocks go with a lot of different color palettes. The farm also produces kelp if you wanted to, and kelp can be turned into dried kelp, which is a food source, or you can craft it up into dried kelp blocks, which is a fuel source. Now that they have removed zero-tick farms, getting a decent fuel source is now a real concern for a lot of people starting new worlds. The dried kelp blocks is a great fuel source, and you get this automatically with no extra charge from this farm. If you're looking for a little bit faster source of black dye, I would recommend my Wither Rose farms. I have quite a few of them. I'm also coming out with a new one. If you don't really want to worry about withers and stuff like that, this farm is definitely for you. Farm is really easy to build up. Only take you about 30 minutes to build the entire thing, and then you can just AFK and get all these materials automatically. If you guys enjoy simple farms like this, make sure to check out the playlist down below. It has over 100 videos all about very simple farms you can build it for your survival world. So in the last snapshot a couple days ago, they changed it so that the fish mobs are now in their own mob cap separate from the water creatures. I covered this in more detail in my snapshot review, which you can find below, but you can see all the different mob caps here in the F3 screen. These two last W's here, the first one stands for water creatures, the second one stands for water ambient. And this is a change that they made. They now separated the two water groups rather than all being in one. In the first group we have squids and dolphins. The second one we have like all the other fish, which consists of cod, salmon, pufferfish, and tropical fish. And both these groups have a maximum limit the game is trying to keep spawned into the game. For water creatures it's 5, and for water ambient it's 20. But those numbers can fluctuate a little bit, can go over or under that. And this information was given to me by CheaterCodes, who looked into the Minecraft code about this. Now this change alone doesn't make this farm possible, but a prior snapshot in 1.16, they changed it so that fish will only spawn so far away from the player. Most mobs will spawn within 128 blocks of the player, but the change that they made to fish is now they said they only spawn up to 64 blocks away from the player. So about half the distance. And they also despawn if they are greater than 64 blocks. This, with the combination of the separating the squids and dolphins from the other fish, means it's possible to just summon in the squids and dolphins and not summon in all the other fish by using the distance the player is from a spawnable location. So if I go up high in the world, and we can turn on hitboxes so you can kind of see it better, but we can see there is a lot of mobs here. As I go up, the mobs are going to start despawning around the rest of the water and start concentrating just spawning underneath of the player. And once I get all the way up to here, this is the point in which mobs can only spawn right underneath of the player. Now I'm currently up here at Y level 186, and the water is way down there at around Y level 62. This means it's way too far for normal fish to spawn down there, but squids as well as dolphins can spawn down there. Now let me hop into a spectator account. You guys can see what's going on down there while I AFK up here. So with the account AFKing up there, let's go down here and see what's going on. You can see there is a lot of activity going on here. You can see there's squids as well as some guardians in here. And there's a couple of dolphins too, but there is also items that are getting pushed about. What's going on here is, since we concentrated all the spawns that have to do with water creatures, which is the squids and dolphins, into a small area, meaning they're only able to spawn in a little teeny kind of bowl-shaped area around here. And the game does not allow them to really spawn anywhere outside of this area. Same thing goes for Guardians. Guardians can spawn in the same kind of range as Squid. The Guardians spawn in as well. The Guardians see the Squid and they shoot their little lasers at the Squids, and this allows them to kill the Squid. And when the Squid dies, they drop ink. You can see a bunch of Squid are dying here. We just have Guardians all over the place. Let me turn off the bounding boxes so you guys can kind of see. There's just so many Guardians that whenever one little Squid spawns in, you have a whole bunch of guys trying to shoot it with lasers, and it doesn't take no time before they just get killed off. And the items from the Squid float up to the top of the water. Our fly machine comes by and sweeps all those items to one side or the other. You can kind of see how it shoves items in front of it. The items do shove, they kind of float downwards, but by the time the fly machine gets there, notice these items are kind of low, will eventually make its way to the surface again so it can get pushed some more. As the fly machine is coming in closer, the items are getting shoved up against this backboard here, which allows them to hit it and they kind of float upwards. Above it we have some water sources which are then flowing inward, and all the items that get pushed get pulled inwards into the hoppers, and the hoppers will pick up the items and put them into these chests over here. With this simple farm setup here, I tested it and produces over 3,100 ink per hour, which is a crazy amount for so simple of a farm. Very, very simple design and extremely effective. You can also see we have a bunch of kelp here. These are just natural kelp that grew in here. I did place in some more along the edges. This allows you to not only get ink sacs off of this farm, but you can also get kelp if you want to. You can essentially fill everything from this side of the farm all the way to this side of the farm with kelp if you wanted to. And that way you just get a bunch of extra useful items while running this farm, as the kelp will naturally grow up and get broken off by the flying machine. One thing to keep in mind is that Squid as well as Guardians don't need just water sources in order to spawn. They can spawn inside of waterlogged blocks. That means they can spawn directly inside of this kelp, which makes it great for 2 farms in one. You don't have to worry about losing any spawn attempts just by placing a bunch of kelp. The fly machines themselves are quite simple. They have these long wings with slime blocks. We got a little engine in the center, and this allows them to sweep a very large area to move all the items to the center. We got some little mechanisms that just reverse them so they go the opposite direction, and they just keep going back and forth collecting all the items to either side of the collection area. Notice how the water itself does get broken by the fly machines, but it quickly fills in behind. This is important, otherwise the items would never make it to the high enough in the surface for the fly machine to actually pick up. Now typically if the fly machine would fly like this with the ends covered, water would be destroyed, but since we have a water source here at the end, when the fly machine leaves, the sources will automatically refill after the fly machine, allowing it to be just like the fly machine was never there. This is such an amazingly simple yet very, very useful farm to have in your world. In order to build this farm up, you want to find yourself an ocean monument. These are pretty common in the deep ocean biomes, and they can be found in all types of deep ocean biomes. Warm, lukewarm, normal, as well as cold and frozen. Now ideally, if you find an ocean monument that's in a cold deep ocean or a frozen deep ocean, they will have typically higher spawns of squid because dolphins themselves cannot spawn in these biomes. Because dolphins do take up part of the squid mob cap, it's a worthy note to go ahead and look for such a biome. Now the frozen ocean may freeze over, so you might want to just go with the cold ocean. And that way 100% of water creature spawns will be just squid and none will be used up for spawning in dolphins. Now once you find yourself an ocean monument, you don't really have to do much to it if you don't want to. If you want to, you can go in there and fight the Elder Guardians. It doesn't really matter. If you don't fight the Elder Guardians, this means that they will be giving you that mining fatigue out 50 blocks at least. Now the Elder Guardians shouldn't really affect your mining because you won't really be mining, you'll just be placing in blocks, which is all these blocks here. This whole section here can be placed at any location you want to. You can place it closer, you can place it farther. If you want to avoid mining fatigue at all, you can place it way over here. The farther you do place it, the fly machine does have to travel farther in order to deposit the items. But the items shouldn't despawn in that amount of time anyways. Now something you will have to pay attention to is the Guardian spawns. Guardians can spawn inside of the range that you see where that temple is at. And they will try to shoot at you while you're building on this. Now it's very possible that you can build this without having any worry about them coming over here and attacking you, but yeah, you can see they do swim around quite a bit. That's why it might be worth building a little further back if you don't want to deal with them. Or you can just go ahead and make yourself an invisibility potion, which lasts 8 minutes. And once you're invisible, if you remove your armor, it won't be able to see you, it won't be able to shoot you. So you can easily build this up without any problem. They're quite simple to make. Just need another bort, a golden carrot, and then a fermented spider eye to corrupt it. Now the build itself isn't too complicated. We just need some type of building block. I just use stone here. It does take quite a few hoppers. If you want to kind of cheapen it up, you could put it in hopper minecarts down here, but you do have to do a bit of water clearing, fit the rails in without the water disturbing them. Hoppers are a little easier to just put in. All the hoppers are just pointing this direction and into this chest here. It does produce a lot of items, so make sure you have a lot of chests. This block as well as this block are actually just air blocks with water flowing in. Only this layer here are the sources. You can see how the sources are flowing inwards, and we come to something like a corner here to prevent this source, which is right here, from flowing over here and creating sources here. We just have a trapdoor. Notice if I flick that trapdoor, what I just did is I allowed this source to connect with this one, and it made water sources across this entire thing. You want to keep that trapdoor up because it prevents water from going this direction. To remove the water, you just place in blocks like this, and then if you remove the blocks, the water will flow in just like before. This is important because you want this piece here to be a source, yet you also want it to be flowing. Many items that come here float upwards and then get pulled inwards and then get pulled into the hoppers and travel along here all the way to your chest. Very, very simple. The little returning stations is not much to it. Just got redstone dust going to a block, into a repeater on full delay, going into a piston which just updates the fly machine. Here comes the fly machine, so you can kind of see how it works. It will take in a signal from one of the observers. This observer here will point into this block. Also go into here, and then this will update this observer here by touching it. This will allow it to stop and then update and get sent off the opposite direction. There's two fly machines. They don't have to be started at the exact same time. Doesn't really make any difference. Keep in mind both these little backboard collection areas are different. This one is kind of indented in the center, so the fly machine flies in. Doesn't kill all the sources, so like this, these sources, while these sources stay alive. And then on the other side, it's the opposite. It's bowed outwards. That way the fly machine also can snugly fit into this without destroying the water sources. Now it's best to run this farm on hard difficulty just because the Elder Guardians do more damage in that difficulty, meaning that they're going to do harder hits towards the squids, killing them faster. Now you can also do in other difficulties that'll work fine. One thing I also tried was releasing the Elder Guardian that was here, because he can even do more damage than these little guys. But his pathfinding isn't very good, and he often kind of sits down in here. And now I think he just fell all the way down underneath the ocean monument. Yeah, he's down here, just kind of mopes around there. But you could somehow set up a system where he's kind of contained, and he's sitting in the center here, just kind of beaming all the squid. Now there's a little bit of discrepancy between where the Guardians spawn and where the squid spawn. The Guardians can only spawn inside of the temple. The top of the temple is right around here. There's about 2 blocks that squids are able to spawn in, but Guardians are not able to spawn in. This makes a little bit of difference because when the player is AFKing way up in the air, if you AFK up too high, it will allow it so that only squid will be able to spawn. But if you AFK too low, squid will be able to spawn out quite far from the center, and it won't be collected by this machine. So there's kind of a sweet zone where mobs can spawn yet not despawn. That's exactly where I had the player at. One thing you will notice that sometimes is these Elder Guardians will shoot like a squid that's right here on the edge. The squid will kind of get shoved out of the area where they can stay spawned in, and they'll actually despawn immediately. But maybe we can actually see this happening. We got some squid over here. They hit the squid here. Yeah, see he got shoved out and he despawned. So that can occur. So they'll despawn for the items come out. But also notice these items here aren't being collected. So if you want to make your sweepers bigger, make some more over here, you can. I thought this was a pretty decent area to be sweeping items while still keeping it relatively simple. Now dolphins themselves are notorious for trying to grab items, so they'll often go after items, and then those items will actually kind of be outside the area and they'll end up despawning. So dolphins don't really actually cause any problems because they move around so much, and like when items get swept over here, they oftentimes will try to chase them and they'll just despawn. You don't have to worry about the entire water creature mob cap being filled up with just dolphins. You notice how the Elder Guardians have no trouble shooting through the kelp to actually hit any of the squid. So it doesn't actually affect their line of view. Now, Elder Guardians themselves don't fit into either of the water mob cap. They're actually in hostile, so you do need to not be playing on peaceful for this one to work. And you also need to be on a server where some hostile mobs can spawn. It doesn't need to be a lot of Guardians in here, just some of them so they can actually kill the squid. Now by far the hardest thing to make this quick squid farm is the slime blocks that are on these fly machines. They do have to be slime blocks. We did try honey blocks, they do not work. So I'm going to show you guys how you can easily get a bunch of slime blocks in survival. First you want to do is find yourself a swamp. Of course it'd be in survival. I'll just find one here. In swamps during the nighttime, slimes can spawn here. So you just want to find a swamp that has a decent amount of land. And then what you want to do is pillar up all the way to the very top of the world. You want to go up to the limit, but you need to go up to 190. And once it turns night, you just want to have a bed and have a block for your player to land on. Sleep in your bed, leave your bed, then jump all the way down into some water. Try not to hit anything else. And then you want to scan the area for any slimes. It can help to do F3 plus B to kind of see hitboxes of mobs. Slimes are kind of biggish. It doesn't hurt to remove some trees in areas so you can kind of see what's going on when mobs are spawning. And if you don't see anything, all you have to do is kill yourself. Like hopping into a lava source works really fast. Make sure you don't have anything that you don't want to die with. Go into survival, and as soon as I die, I'll be up here at the top again, and there will be no mobs able to spawn down below. Then you just repeat the process. You can see I see some slime there. So yeah, you can, when you're falling down, you can kind of see where the slime is at. Then you could run over and kill the slime. Yeah, probably worth having at least some gear, but this is a really easy way to make slime spawn in. Of course, as soon as you get your stuff from the slime, you can put like an ender chest, and then you could kill yourself again. So yeah, slime is running away, but like one of these big slimes will actually provide quite a bit. If you have looting, you can even get like more off of them. Only once you kill the little guys will you actually get the slime blocks, so make sure to kill them all the way down until they are small. Then you can put yourself like an ender chest and just have yourself die by one of the mobs. And then you just repeat the process. This is a cool technique that was shown to me by speedrunners, which they use to actually spawn in a lot of endermen. So you can see a bunch of slime there. But it can easily be used to pretty much spawn in any mob that you're trying to go after a specific type. It probably help to have like an ender chest kind of near here in the center. You can grab your stuff back out of again. Or every time just put your stuff into like a chest if you can't afford it. Yeah, this is an easy way to get tons of slimes. And if you're really fast, you can repeat this several times per night, so that you can get tons and tons of slimes all within one night. You can probably get enough slimes to actually do the entire fly machine. So if you ever need any kind of startup slime to do fly machines or anything else, sticky pistons, this is a great way to do it. So I got 20 just off of those little guys. I guess there's some more slime here too. That's already 2 slime blocks, so you can easily see how this can be used to get tons and tons of slime. And the secret is that when you die and go up to the top, all the mobs here despawn. So then the game has more attempts to spawn in more slime. So as you fall down, it's pretty easy to see the big huge slimes like right there. And then you just go after them. Hopefully you guys find this very useful in obtaining slimes, as well as getting any other kind of mob drop that's somewhat rare. Now next I would like to talk about the kelp and adding kelp here if you want to farm them up. The kelp do have a limit on how high they will grow. They only grow 25 blocks tall. So from this part of the ocean way down here, which is Y level 34, all the way up to the top, which is around Y level 64, is over 35 blocks tall. So if you really want kelp to grow this entire distance, what you can do is just plant the whole floor with kelp. And then once the kelp get to their max height, just break the top one. And this will kind of reset their age. So those are all set to 25. You can see this one's set to 25. That's a max it can grow. It can't go any higher than that. So if you just break it, you can see this one's age is now 6. So if you just break these ever so often, they'll start over again, and then they'll just keep climbing upwards, and they can actually reach the surface when before they couldn't. And of course with their invisibility potion, it's pretty simple. Come in here and just place in tons of kelp. The higher the kelp is to the fly machines, the less likely you have to worry about the kelp reaching age 25. Anywhere you have room, just throw in some kelp, and you can even take the output chest that has kelp in it and just turn around and replant more kelp. Until you have so much stinking kelp, you'll never know what to do with it all. Now the amount of kelp this farm produces really depends on how many you plant, but you can see just with the few plants that are tall there, how many I got in these chests over here. So if you want more kelp, just plant in more plants. Now I'm not going to go into block for block how to build this up. I do provide world downloads with all my farms, which you can find linked below. I'll show you exactly how everything is built up. The fly machine, I'll show you where the AFK point is, and all that good stuff. Just some things that I did when building this up. I just turned on F3 plus G, which shows the chunk border, so you can kind of see how the ocean monument is. And I just try to center the center of the flying machines with the center of the ocean monument. That way it's about even amount on either side, so it has the largest ability to sweep items over to the other side. You can make this wider if you want to. Just keep in mind the guardians don't spawn outside of this edge here, so they won't really kill too many squids out here unless they swim out there. Depending on where you AFK, they're not going to be able to swim out there because they despawn. This farm is great for people just starting a new Minecraft world, or even people who have been there quite a while. So make sure to share this video with your favorite Minecrafters. They can learn about this cool farm and how they can get tons of ink as well as kelp in their very own survivor world. And don't forget to leave a like on the video. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.